Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of Rolling Stories. And today we'll be very happy to have our guest, Chung Yiling, here to share with us more about her journey as well as her experience in HR as well as HR technology. Hi, Yiling. Thank you for coming onto the show. To begin with, could you give us an introduction about yourself to share us more about how you actually arrived to where you are, but really bring us back to the initial journey and some of the career choices that you've made that you believe may have contributed to what you're doing right now?
I'm Yiling. I'm the head of HR Digital Solutions for Asia Pacific with Air Liquide and that's my current role. So I have been a HR technology leader in various organizations, more recently with industries in banking and IT, and leading the HR tech domain, either within HR or in IT. So viewing HR technology and its charter, its objectives from both the HR and the IT perspectives in organizations in the past, such as with UOB, GIC, HP. And I would say that my broadest experience in HR technology has been with a semiconductor US corporation, Broadcom. So the exposure with this HR technology since the early days when I first started as a HR professional and specializing in the domain of HR technology has actually brought me tremendous hands-on and direct experiences, involvement from conception to implementation to implemented sites, and also as a user beneficiary of the solution itself of HR technology. So seeing through the entire end-to-end life cycle, and then with all the major HR platforms that organizations typically deploy out there, such as SAP, SuccessFactors, PeopleSoft, Workday, and also all the neat applications that you can usually find in a HR technology landscape today.
And obviously, I guess given what you have done on a day-to-day regular basis, you probably have gone through quite a fair bit of evolution in the space of HR technology. Now, for the listeners out there who may be a bit newer to what this is all about, could you help us go back in time and share with us the stories of your earlier encounter with some of the HR technology, and perhaps even share with us some of the use cases back then, which we may in today's context see it as being completely ridiculous?
I guess I would like to say that from my experiences in the past, starting from the early days, we had software and HR, which was really on-premise, such as SAP. And of course, today, evolving to what it has today on cloud, all these opportunities have actually given me a rich portfolio with cross-sections of HR technology and its applications, both from country-specific, regional, and global. So again, how HR technology plays such a key role in delivering value to the organization and businesses. So we have seen how, HR tech, HRIS systems evolve from the early days to maybe localized HR and admin systems in an organization to on-premise systems like SAP HR, which serve its purpose, and also then seeing the evolution to really a leapfrog into cloud technology, such as SAP SuccessFactors. And today we have, of course, Workday. So I think that these are all the cross-section of HR technology that plays and serves its purposes in delivering a value to businesses. I would say that in my current role with Air Liquide as a head of HR Digital Solutions, it's actually a global leader from France in industrial gas technology and solutions. So in this kind of a landscape, non-tech, non-finance, not really highly, with automation. But this really represented one of the most enriching, in fact, personally, a most enriching and whole new experience in the area of HR transformation and applying my specialty, which is HR Digital Solutions, HR Tech, as a major pivotal arm, collaborating with HR business leaders within the organization to bring about HR transformation recently. So I hope that I'm able to share with you this journey of where we are today using the state-of-the-art, latest, I would say, cloud technology. It actually presented a very unique opportunity in transformation with Air Liquide's 120-year-old history. This is, as I mentioned, never before done to introduce technology in HR domain in such a big way. So this was really the start of my exciting journey with Air Liquide 3 years ago.
I really love that perspective because I think in our, especially Kiasu Singapore culture, there's always a tendency to overcompensate by doing more, notifying more people, bringing more people into the slate, not thinking further down the road that all this will actually add to more complexity and also unnecessary information, which result in turning people off. And of course, that would not be the ideal scenario. It's just like trying to throw 100 ingredients into the wok. It may not result in the best dish out there. Sometimes simplicity is key. And I hope more of our listeners can really think through about applying this approach and see how by being simple upfront, it may result in a simple and better outcome eventually. Now, I'd like to go back to the selection phase where we discuss about the clean slate implementation. I would imagine during the selection process, given that it is quite an open scenario, it's like, in a legacy scenario, I would imagine, you go to an Italian restaurant, you know what to order is pasta, pizza, those few stuff. But in your case, because it's a clean slate, anything works, anything goes. It's like going to a food court or going to a Hong Kong cafe, 200 items, you do not know which one to pick. But I'm very certain there might be some guiding beacon, some principle, some philosophy that you abide with in order to find eventually which one is the best one to look at. Should it be this all-in-one software? Should it be a stack of best of breed? How did you apply that approach when it comes to selecting and narrowing down the funnel of so many different technology out there to eventually the one that your current company is actually using?
Okay. In short, let me start with the endpoint and then I elaborate how we went through that journey also. The endpoint was, of course, we actually took the decision to go for all-in-one HR system, and therefore, rather than piecing together and stacking together different niche technologies, but we had the landscape afforded us this opportunity to really start from scratch and look at all-in-one. Therefore, our charter, I mentioned earlier about our design principles and the number one driving forces. This all actually shaped our selection and finally evaluating and putting 3 to 4 key software players out there on the table. But all with an all-in-one approach. All these major players out there, I think we all know what usually they end up being. The brand names, I would say, the brand names, they're all in one. And so we actually wanted to do that because this was really a chance for that single approach, single system approach, unifying factor, rather than that potpourri of applications, which we actually were trying to avoid. But I must say that in the comparison of things, selecting and deploying best of breed software niche players can actually offer the opportunity to obtain the best functionality to plug in gaps perhaps cannot be provided by a single HRS system. Perhaps companies can actually choose the best of breed from players that are constantly evolving and upgrading more effectively than trying to customize your core HR system and making it work. But the downside of selecting niche players and fitting into the overall landscape is that really it increases complexity at the end of the day, because the maintenance and the overhead upgrades, integration architecture, managing a group or multiple vendors, renewal contracts, all these can actually add to the workload. So managing the technology upgrades of all these different players. But more importantly, I mentioned that there is actually a sacrifice on the overall end-to-end employee journey with such an approach. It becomes really fragmented, disjointed at the employee touch points. It does not really provide a whole harmonized global experience that we were really trying to achieve. But the HR business and financial priorities allow the total clean slate approach, single solution technology architectures. This actually could avoid or eliminate the disparity of a multitude of experiences, but different ways of employee experiences trying to be stitched together. Even with a single HRIS solution, like in our case, there could still be room to stack on niche software, but the overall strategy and baseline lens is still one harmonized, reference system. So I must say that in the selection and evaluation for our case, with all the major software players out there, the HCM providers already come with an all-in-one architectural approach. In their product development and design, they would have taken care of harmonization and seamless, or perhaps at least, same look and feel on the home landing page. But they do it better than us HR domains trying to achieve this ourselves and trying to stitch our journey together. So then we try to move away from the siloed approach in the process and design system. So in summary, the overall landscape actually can be harmonized by this approach and reducing the variation of systems or vendors. Ultimately, I think the HR goal still can be met for sure, and the employee benefits
With most of the heavy lifting already completed, are there any upcoming initiatives on the HR side that you're looking forward to over this year or the upcoming years for Ellicott?
Yes, for sure, because we already got fundamentally our new transformation automation platform in place. It really affords us the ability or the opportunity now to look at more value-added initiatives in the area of talent management. In also workforce planning is another area which we will look at how to enhance or even extend the use of technology, and of course analytics and the various other opportunities in the learning and development space is something that with a baseline, a good single HR system affords us to be able to have that visibility into the data that we have and then be able to move on from there. But I think that post-pandemic, we went through this entire journey throughout the pandemic times, everything was remote, but changes are reality because the hybrid workplace demands partial or even full dependence on technology and all the automation processes. So it's also trying to make sure that our technology, HR tech infrastructure remains adaptable to address these dynamics, and the opportunity cost of not adapting, not progressing with technology to the new reality is really high. So of course, the software players, the cloud platforms that we are on, which is actually on Workday. SuccessFactors also has this ability, and all the cloud players have a renewal program in upgrading or releases. So it's really now in the run support mode to be able to keep up with all these changes and to even simplify and make things more intuitive. So because we know that in the new workplace, employees, there's much more focus on employees' well-being, employees, mental health, flexibility, and balance. So the recent focus on all these initiatives that drives the new workforce pushes for flexibility and adaptability, making our systems more simple, more harmonized. Because in this multi-speed world, the biggest challenge really for workers, employees, managers is we all face time poverty. We're all poor in time. We need to push for a more simplified, intuitive workplace and make the workplace simpler with more intuitive tools, lessening the burden of workers and managers. We are already inundated with a flurry of apps all over the place, right? Tools. So again, I think the fundamental approach to move away from complexity, we still have long ways to go, even with this, huge undertaking of transformation, we still have more to do. And coupled with the external exposure or the fight for talent, so the skills crisis and the retention factor, all these is adding up to the drive for our HR systems to become even more adaptable. Also, all our multi-talented employees, they are really more than ever willing to change jobs, look for ventures easily beyond country borders. So stretching our recruitment, stretching our mobility systems, processes. So we really need to think of ways to continually adapt, make them better with more agile and adaptable designs. So I think in summary, I mentioned some key principles. It's all about the employer. It's all about the total workplace experience with the right tools to bring about this employee welfare topics and the employee voice and sentiment right into the center arena, and empowering our managers to really take quick actions using the tools, make decisions to keep the workforce happy, motivated, and engaged in their journey with the company.
I think one of the personal key takeaway from this conversation really is if 120-year-old company, which is so complex in so many countries, can go through this exercise and under a remote setting no less, I'm very certain every other companies out there has no excuses to really look into digital transformation as well as emphasizing on employee experience at the same time. And it doesn't have to come through a sophisticated over complication of matters. It always starts from the first principle, which is what are you trying to serve, who are you trying to serve, and along the way try to simplify matters so as to drive user and employees adoption. I hope with that you will give our listeners a bit of things to think about, especially if they are currently in your shoe in looking at how to transform their organization or perhaps considering some of the points that you have undergone. And for people who may be keen to learn more about yourself or maybe to connect with you to just get more advice from you, where can people go to?
Of course, to hear more on our recent HR transformation initiative, or even if to hear more of the insights inside stories, please do connect with me on LinkedIn, and you could read the featured posts because there are recent features about the journey that Air Liquide went through, as well as insights on forums and recent events, on months of sharing and collaboration on the HR technology topic. So for more about this, please reach me for a chat on LinkedIn.
Thank you so much, Eileen, and thank you so much again for your time, for making this possible for us to learn more about your HR transformation journey. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Adrian.